You're watching Viewpoint. I'm Afrida Rahman Ali. Mamata Banerjee has just announced that her government will bring in an anti-rape bill. In fact, she has proposed death penalty for rape convicts in this draft bill. The draft of the anti-rape bill, which Mamata Banerjee is set to present in the West Bengal Assembly tomorrow on Tuesday, proposes capital punishment for those convicted of rape if their actions lead to the victim's death or result in a vegetative state. So the draft also proposes that people convicted of rape or gang rape will face a life sentence for the rest of their lives. So this is news that has just come in on what is called the Aparajita Woman and Child Bill, West Bengal Criminal Laws and Amendment Bill, that is being proposed by Mamata Banerjee. We are not there to talk about this bill right now. What we are here to talk about is what is happening in West Bengal today, the level and extent that the protest has grown in magnitude, the scale at which the protests are happening today. Is it all politically motivated, or is there public anger against Mamata Banerjee? That is one question we need to address, because what we should not lose sight of course, law and order is a state subject. Of course, there were initial lapses by the police. We should not lose sight of two things. First, the fact that police arrested the accused, the fact that police eliminated that it is not a gang rape, which was supported later by the post-mortem. And the second thing that we must not lose sight of is the fact that at this point in time, the CBI is handling the case. It is no longer with the state government. It is the CBI that is to make further progress in the case in terms of investigation. Now, that is where my question lies. Are we somehow losing the focus on the fact that we need justice for Abhaya? CBI has the job of producing incriminating evidence against the accused so that speedy justice can be meted out in this case. Have we somehow moved away from that focus of justice for Abhaya? And this has become more about a Mamta Hatao Andolan, because if you hear the BJP spokespersons or the leaders of the opposition in West Bengal, there seems to be a single point agenda that Mamta must go. And I'm here to understand that. I will have the BJP spokesperson guide us through this understanding. Why must Mamta be removed for anything to change? And I will, of course, have the counter points of view as well on this. So let me introduce, joining me here today on the program, Radhika Bhattacharya Shah, BJP. She's actually a spokesperson of the BJP. I think I also have Ravi Srivastav Ravi Srivastav, a political analyst. Thank you so much for joining me here on Viewpoint. I want to begin with you, Radhika Bhattacharya, about the question that I posed in my opening. I know I have to speak a little louder for you. आई वांट टू नो फ्रॉम यू राधिका जी कि इस वक्त जो हम सुन रहे हैं कुणाल घोष जी से, शुभेंदु अधिकारी जी से, वो एक ही मुद्दे पे अटका है कि ममता हटाओ, ममता बनर्जी मस्ट स्टेप डाउन. जिसका जो मुद्दा था अभया के लिए, इन्वेस्टिगेशन का प्रोग्रेस का जो इश्यू था, क्या हम कहीं वहां से भटक गए हैं? नाउ यू ओनली आर बेइंग फॉर ममताज ब्लड.
Afrida ji, namaskar. What has to be remembered by every politician in this country is that people bring us to power. Any regime is the result of the people's will. Mamata Banerjee came into power in 2011 because Bengal was fed up with 34 years of the CPIM regime when they removed everything that Bengal was better known for, whether it was corporates, economy, manufacturing, jobs, international airline routes, etc. Everything went for a toss with the CPIM regime. Mamata came in as a beacon of hope. And we Bengalis are a very woman-oriented society. Remember, हमारी goddesses हैं माँ दुर्गा, माँ काली, हम माँ लक्ष्मी, हम माँ सरस्वती को पूजते हैं. So we are a very woman-driven society. Mother plays a very large role. So when you have a leader in the form of a woman, the state had great hopes, and they began to call her Bibi. Now, what has happened over the years is that nothing changed in Bengal. The CPM used to govern the state with a Gunda Raj mechanism, of which they would call the cadres. Today, Mamata runs it with the same people who transferred from there to here in a similar manner. But even CPIMs today will say that we used to do it with a bit of decency. Mamata does it with no empathy and no shame. Today, we have a civil society that is lived in fear. You will ask, a lot of people ask, oh, then how is she winning elections, etc.? That's another topic. But just now we are seeing a state of affairs where the people have had enough. Just when they were reaching the tipping point, Dr. Abhaya had. Mamata Banerjee is not just the Chief Minister, the Honorable Chief Minister of our state. She is also our Health Minister and our Police Minister. The जनता asks for very little. हमने आपको सत्ता दिया है, आप हमें संभालें. सही करे, गलत करे, अच्छा करे, बुरा करे, ऊंचा करे, नीचा करे, कम करे, ज्यादा करे, हमने आप ही से सवालात कर दी है. So here, this whole situation, today we are looking at a scenario which has come as a googly for Mamata Banerjee. It is pointing towards the direction of her end. Bengal has shown so much of patience in its capacity to bear unbearable regimes, as I just mentioned. It bore the CPIM for 20 to 34 years, and it, of course, saw the ruin of a vibrant and a very enthusiastic market. And it drowned Bengal into the depths of poverty and backwardness.
We will come to that
And
later.
then we
I'm going to take the primary point that you're making, Radhika ji. The primary point
Right.
you're making is that TMC goons is the word you used. And there's a
Right.
sort of a fiefdom that is going on, and Mamata is presiding over that. So there is a sort of a network of these goons who are operating on the ground, who threaten and intimidate. And therefore, you are saying that what was supposed to change from the left regime has not changed. And in this case, you are seeing a sterling example of that, of workers of the party operating on ground as a network of people out there to threaten and intimidate and run their fiefdom. Now there I would want to bring in Ravi Srivastav ji. Kuch had tak, to a certain extent, what Radhika ji is saying probably is true. If you look at it, if you have these sort of vandals enter the hospital within hours, the crime scene was not sealed. Who are these goons? How did the police allow them to enter a sensitive area? Because they are so empowered and emboldened for being with the TMC, probably is one explanation, that they have this sort of access and they get away with this sort of committing this sort of excesses in public. Ravi Srivastav.
Good evening, Afrida.
Good
First of all, the lady who is mentioning just now, she gave a little history of Bengal, how the CPIM ruled for nearly 30 years, how they were removed by Mamata Banerjee. People saw a lot of hope in her, and the hope has been now belied as per her statement. I want to
Which is
ask
why they
certain
are
things.
asking for her removal, to come to the
Yeah,
point of the
that's what
discussion. that we are having.
what I'm coming to is now BJP is leveraging every shortfall in the governance, in the law and order to remove Mamata Banerjee. Now, what I would say is that the right way, first sentence she made is Janta elects you, the Janta brings you, right? If Janta brings you, the Janta will send you back. She came in 11, she came in 16, she came in 21. She, in fact, in the parliament election recently held, she reduced the BJP's number of MPs by almost 8 or 10 numbers. And the assembly has got almost 3/4 number of MLAs of the TMC. I'm not saying that what she is doing, everything is correct. No, it is not. The whole country, the whole world feels that the guilty must be punished. Yes, you rightly said two sentences in the beginning, Afrida. It was Calcutta police who caught the culprit within 2 days. It was Kolkata police who immediately swung into action and started doing the investigation over there. But a protest by 8,000 people entering inside the hospital, destroying the crime scene, removing the items over there, all such things have made the job of the CBI very, very difficult. Now,
Okay,
public
let me at
demand.
this point introduce Mr. Ellen Rao, who is a former DCP of Delhi Police. Mr. Rao, welcome. I would request you if you can have a little light on your face. I think you're also on the move. Just coming to you in a bit, sir. Let Mr. Srivastav complete. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that it is now 22 days the CBI is investigating the whole case, and nothing concrete has come out. The lie detector test, the polygraph test, this test, that test. They have sealed the crime scene now. Some demolition was going on over there. The crime scene has been changed. I am coming to a simple point. The Honorable Supreme Court said, requested with all actions of the CBI to continue. The last sentence they made was the doctors should come to work first. That's the most critical statement they made because the
Yes.
public at large should not suffer. And the way today's incident or day before incident, what I'm seeing is the BJP is only trying to capitalize the particular incident to remove Mamata Banerjee. They are not my respective panelist lady has not said that justice should be done to Abhaya. The culprit should be booked. The culprit should be immediately hanged. She never used these things. Mamta hatao is the reason. Remove the government. Dissolve the government.
So,
That's their objective,
of
not
course,
the
there is a
justice
provision.
for
If there
Abhaya.
is a complete breakdown of law and order, the central government can take a call to impose a president's rule. Has it reached that point? Let me have Mr. Ellen Rao also come in. Mr. Rao, good evening. Wanted to bring
Yes,
you in into
madam.
the conversation about to what extent has the state machinery completely failed? Because to my understanding, rape is not a state specific, city specific issue.
Okay.
Rape is happening across other across the country, and this is a rape and murder. It is serious because it has happened in a government hospital. It is serious because there were some amount of misinformation trying to cover up in the beginning, which the parents of the victim are saying. That is where it becomes credible. It becomes unfortunate that the parents of the victim feel that they were not, given out the correct information. They were misled. Based on that, there is a lot of anger now. But to your understanding, to what extent has the state machinery failed in this case? To what extent has police failed? To what extent should Mamata Banerjee take responsibility, Mr. Rao?
Afrida, good evening to everyone. And no doubt in that, in this case, initially, the Kolkata police had some, you can say, lethargic attitude to to safeguard the scene of crime, and then not to allow the so many people inside the hospital. Alleged harassment to the parents of the victim, and that was the main contention of all disputes, that parents were not allowed to see even the face of their daughter, and that was the main anger among them, and that anger also led to the protest by so many people inside the hospital. No doubt, it's a law and order is a state government's prerogative. They should control that law and order situation and prevent the crime. If crime is not prevented, then investigation should be done. No doubt in that. And in this case, I do agree with Mr. Ravi that the Calcutta police arrested that person within a very short time. But at that very stage, the FIR was lodged after a delay of more than 14-15 hours. That is also a lacuna in the investigation of this case. Until and unless an FIR is registered, that investigation cannot be started, and then FIR was registered I think after the postmortem was done, whereas that in the face of it, it was apparently a case of murder or rape could have been established during the postmortem report, but at least murder case should have been registered because she was having so many injuries. That is lacuna on the part of
Lapse on the
investigation.
police.
Investigation in the beginning. But later on, when the case was transferred to the CBI, that was delay of 5-6 days. And in that case, the CBI is also trying to link all the evidences which are available in the case initially collected by the police. Now come to the point where you are asking that whether this is a failure of the government machine in that case. No,
Yeah.
no, it is not there because government machinery not only fails only with one or two such type of cases. No doubt it's a serious
Hmm.
matter.
Hmm.
No, nobody can deny that. That serious matter
Hmm.
is being investigated by the CBI,
Yeah. Why
the
I'm
core
raising that, Mr.
investigators of
Rao?
CBI.
Yes, the reason I was raising that is because, again, I have seen stories of the pathetic conditions in government hospitals in other states across the country. I was speaking to a doctor friend today who told me in Maharashtra, in the government hospitals, it is no different. There are no restrooms. It's difficult for women doctors. There are excruciating hours. The safety is an issue. It is not typical to one particular government hospital in West Bengal. It's endemic to the system in this country, which is why I
Right.
said, how can you then implicate or just sort of, use Mamta Banerjee as a punching bag? Whereas this is something that needs to be corrected nationally. It would be very myopic of us to constantly only question Mamta Banerjee. But Mr. Rao, I want clarity from you on this. Why the delay now? Why isn't CBI acting in the right earnest? Forensics are there. The postmortem report is there. The police has already established that only one accused was involved, and that is supported by the postmortem. Why can't a charge sheet be filed, and why can't the guilty be punished? Don't you think that now the onus has shifted out of the state government, Mr. Rao?
Definitely, that investigation should be completed as soon as possible. But the CBI, I know the style of working of CBI. They can't send this charge sheet in a half-cooked manner. They will
Hmm.
definitely finalize this charge sheet after collection of all the physical evidences, scientific evidences, and forensic evidence in this case, and all linking all the evidences together and linking to the accused. Definitely,
Hmm.
I think that this charge sheet will be filed as soon as possible. But still, let the CBI complete their own investigation. Whatever investigation is left out, they will definitely complete it. I think so. But
Yes.
a delay cannot be on the delay cannot be claimed that unnecessary delay. It cannot be said a
Yes.
delay
So,
unnecessarily. Definitely, they must
right.
be
There were
investigating
delay
this
in
case on
filing
so
of
many
the
other angles
FIR.
also.
Right. There was delay in the filing of the FIR already. We don't want further delays. What you are also saying is that the CBI is dependent on the preservation of the crime scene. So if that was tampered, the case becomes difficult. Collection of evidence becomes difficult if there was tampering. We are just saying because that is something which is being discussed over and over again that the crime scene was not preserved. Let me welcome Dolon Ganguly as well, activist, women rights activist with us this evening. Thank you so much, Dolonji, for joining us. Before I come
Thank
to
you.
you, we are discussing the fact that the rhetoric has shifted entirely to the removal of Mamata Banerjee because that is what we heard from the opposition leaders in Bengal. I want to play out a couple of their sound bites and come to you. Let's listen in to Kunal Ghosh and Suvendu Adhikari. Here it is. I think the audio is not there. I can't hear the audio in this. Okay, let's see.
आवाज कोई नहीं है।
No,
The
this is good.
TMC led state government not allowed us to pay our respect to our doctor sister. They refused. For that reason, we separately organize our condolence meeting and we convey our respect to the departed soul, to our daughter, our doctor sister. Same to Mamata Banerjee. Today is
Okay.
also a remarkable day. Supreme Court dismiss. Supreme Court dismiss. Supreme Court dismiss SLP filed by the state government.
Okay, I think there's an audio
एक
mismatch
के
there with
बाद
the
एक
lip
रेप
sync,
हो
but
रहा है।
here is the other soundbite that
लास्ट
we have.
24 घंटे में पश्चिम बंगाल में टोटल 6 रेप और मोलेस्टेशन की घटना घटी है। तो इसलिए जो गलती है वो गलती है, जो आरजीकर की घटना घटी है, सिर्फ एक कोई इंसिडेंट नहीं है, ये सिस्टेमिक फेलियर है और इसके लिए ममता बनर्जी को रिजाइन कर देना।
So, Dolonji, I want to come to you on this. I'll just have this soundbite removed, and I want to just put this question to you about is Dolon Ganguly with us? Okay, yeah, there she is. I want to ask you that,
Sorry,
after.
can't hear. Can't hear.
Is it better now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, better, better, better.
Okay, yeah. I'm saying there have been two, three other instances now. In fact, today during a protest, one man was identified as someone who was going around inappropriately touching women in the protest. Now, suddenly it has become as if, rapes have increased in Kolkata and West Bengal at an alarming rate. And so, like you just heard, and the BJP there, we heard Radhika ji also say earlier that it is happening because this has been allowed. There's certain hoodlums who have been empowered and emboldened. And therefore, this is happening way too often now under Mamata Banerjee's rule. Your thoughts, Dolonji?
Thank you, Afrida, for having me. First, though, I would like to say that I was, I mean, बीच बीच में कट गया था, but I was hearing the narrative of the protests. First, I'd like to add the in Kolkata and West Bengal, throughout the state, every day, numerous protests are happening, rallies, meetings, I mean, sit-in and all, and not by so-called political oppositions always. I
Okay.
think this time, which is a specific and which is a saline feature and which is appreciable, that common people across gender, and when I say across gender, it includes queer people also, women, men, cis, trans, everybody are on road, and they are trying to distance themselves as much as possible from both the political party and all the political parties who are ruling or in opposition. So that is the feature of the protest going on in Calcutta. So I mean,
Okay.
humbly,
Fair point. You're saying the protest is not political. There's enough
give me 1 minute,
civil
Afrida, give me
society
please.
participation.
Yeah, civil
You're
society
talking about the civil society.
participation,
Yeah, point
and
taken.
it's not a political parties. I mean, so-called political forces protest. Number one. Number two, coming to your question, that is in West Bengal, it is in rise. I would say it is rising all over the India, all over the India. I completely understand that this time in West Bengal the case has happened, and I totally also make responsible to the government and the authority. However, having said that, I would also like to raise here what happened to Hathras, what happened to Unnao, what happened to Kathua, and what happened to Fagat. So I don't think we should see West Bengal in isolation. It is all India picture, and we need to work together, be it opposition, be it in ruling, and all the civil society forces together to stop this rape and sexual violence culture. I'll stop
The
here.
civil society anger, Dolonji, as you pointed out, is totally understandable. I would have been there if I was in Kolkata protesting and participating only on this aspect about why the fear of the law is simply not there. It has to be because there is no speedy justice. It has to be because there is no enforcement of the law. It is simply not enough, Ravi Srivastava to have new laws made over and over again, rehash karo. We have the most stringent rape laws in the country. Yet there is no deterrence. I will go to Mr. Rao as well on the point of deterrence, but yes, you wanted to come into the conversation, Mr. Srivastav.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I fully agree with you that the laws are there. The implementation is lethargic. The conviction rate is very, very low, and people go scot free. And I would say that there is some kind of political involvement also in these things. The courts proceedings. I think you must have heard the Honorable President of India, who was speaking just yesterday on in
Yes.
presence of the Chief Justice, and she said that the rape cases, molestation cases, and the rape murder cases must be, without any adjournment, and must be tried within the limited time frame, so that the person is hanged, or whatever else has to happen should happen. And I also, for that matter, I appreciate Mamata Banerjee. At least she has shown some initiative within the state. She is trying to bring a bill. Now responsibility lies with her to see and ensure that any such cases happening must reach the conclusive end soonest possible. if she
The
really means
issues,
it.
Mr. Srivastav, is also to do with the fact that we do not have enough judges. We do not have the proportion of judges to the crime or to the population is abysmally poor. The ratio is abysmally poor. So while all these issues of fast track courts have been raised time and again, when it comes to the actual, reality on the ground, we are faced with the same harsh realities again. Yes, Dolonji.
No, I just want to add. I mean, this. I mean, the bill tomorrow is coming. I'm not sure what is about, but if it is
It's an
about the capital,
anti-rape bill that talks about. I can, in fact, give you a little bit of details that I have on this. The bill that Mamata Banerjee is proposing to bring in is death penalty for rape convicts. That is what the draft bill says, and it proposes that the people convicted of rape or gang rape will face a life sentence, and this is called Aparajita Woman and Child Bill, and this aims to better protect women by amending the current laws, as it were, by adding a more stringent punishment, so to speak. That is the
so,
bill, is what the bill
I
is
mean,
about. Go ahead.
so yeah, I think that's a totally a trap. That's a
Hmm.
totally trap, because for capital punishment is not a solution. If it is a solution, it would have been already the number of rape in India could have been reduced, because in Nirvaya we gave capital punishment, in West Bengal also earlier we gave capital punishment to the rapists. So that's not a solution.
Hmm.
Solution is something else. And when it comes to in this state, even the West Bengal government, just after the incident, they released 17 steps of to protect women, and one of the clause were there that women should work less at night. I mean, this is something ridiculous. I mean,
Absolutely. I
I
agree
mean,
with you.
I mean, the
Yeah.
perpetrator or
Restrict women further
will be
rather
out,
than do your
and women
jobs.
will be inside.
Yes.
This is an outrageous thing,
Absolving
and
your
capital
duty to protect
punishment.
the
So I,
citizens.
I just want to add this capital punishment today. Here, West Bengal government is asking for this has been asked by other government in other states, be across political parties, and I think this is a very easy way to
Hmm.
cover up the issue by all political parties. I mean, all is all,
Yeah.
and therefore I completely disagree with this measure. The measure should be the safe and secure workplaces, public places. There should be speedy trial for this particular case, but preventive measures is more important. And finally, the campaign with the men and engaging with the men, women too, to change this gendered norm and this patriarchal mindset towards women.
Absolutely. We'll come to that point, and I would want you to speak a little bit more on that patriarchy bit. I'm going to Mr. Rao. Yes, I'll come to you, Radhika ji. To talk about, while we are at the point about deterrence, let's finish it off, and ask Mr. Rao again about how are we going to create deterrence? There seems to be no fear of consequence, because if you look at any mindset, a rapist mindset, first, of course, like Dolonji said, there is a male superiority complex already, right, ingrained, that has come from society. I mean, by virtue of being a woman, she is inferior to you. Therefore, you have the power to pounce on her, or whatever it is that patriarchal mindset has, got it into your head. Now comes the issue of deterrence, where you have to instill the fear of the law. The guy has never seen people who commit such crimes being punished, facing severe consequences. That narrative is not there in the ecosystem, and therefore he is undeterred. There is an
Uh,
audacity.
Yes,
There is a
Radhika,
merit.
I may be excused. I have
Sorry.
got another show, another channel, please.
Okay,
Thank
please
you very
make your
much.
final
Thank you.
comments then, Mr.
Thank.
Srivastav, before you go. Yeah. Mr. Rao, just hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Mr. Srivastav?
Yes, Afrida.
I,
Yes,
No.
I
Just hold
would,
on. Mr. Srivastav
I
wants
would,
to make
I
a
would.
closing comment and leave.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I would just like to add my co-panelists what they have said is that yes, I'm in agreement that this such kind of bills will not add any value or this kind of a thing, But my question here is the issue has shifted already. It has been politicized. The public has come on the road, and you can see the videos where the particular party workers, they are throwing stones and making another law and order situation in West Bengal, in Kolkata especially. So I think the politicization should stop, and instead of that, the particular crime which has happened, the person should be hanged, the person should be punished, the particular institution should be punished. That RG car medical college, because number of irregularities have been found right under the nose of the government. So I think this is a high time that they should take action on the particular medical college, as well as the particular crime which has taken place, and the CBI should do a good job. They are worried about their reputation as well, because the CBI people trust a lot. So I think they will not leave any stone
Yes,
unturned. They're taking a
I
little more
totally
time,
agree.
but it must
Yes.
happen. Yeah. Thank you
Totally
very much,
agree with you.
Afrida.
Thank you so much for joining us. I totally agree with that point about how a lot of questions are unanswered around the irregularities in RJ Medical Hospital. And Mr. Sandeep Ghosh has a lot of answering to do. There was an attempt to protect him. We'll come to that. But Mr. Rao, I want to know from you the deterrence part. No fear of the law, no fear of consequences. That gives them this sort of, a sense of power to go ahead and commit such heinous crimes. How are we going to change that? Anti-rape bill, will
Afrida,
it make a difference?
yes, Afrida, law in our country is sufficient to deter or to prevent this crime or to punish this crime. No doubt, no new law will have any further positive effect, because in this case also, in our law as per this case, definitely the punishment until death is there. In murder case, the rarest of the rare, if
Yes.
murder is there, and that is there. In rape case also, there are some categories. There is a death penalty if somebody found convicted in a rape with a girl minor than before 12 years, less than 12 years, then he can also be hanged till death. So in deterrent part, that is only deterrent so far as I feel. There are two
Mm-hmm.
reasons. One, social obligation. Then the people itself, they are not convincing their male counterpart to prevent all these things, or to stop doing such type of gruesome rape, or
But
any type
police
of
has
rape.
a role in
Number two,
prevention, sir. Police also has a big
means
role
yes,
to play in
no, no, no,
prevention.
no, no, no,
Police's
no, no.
job is
In
not just
rape
to
cases,
investigate.
very limited role of police is there in rape cases. The police can prevent those rape cases only when they know that such person is pervert to the rape, or he may commit any rape crime, or somebody complains to the police that he is likely to commit such rape. Only in that case police can come into the picture. But major role of preventing or the deterrent is that of a court. That's a trial. The trial should be done in a very time bound manner, so that the people who has been caught, he should not think that I will get free. Very, because if the trial is going on lengthy, then that the witnesses in that case will definitely not support the case, and there will be some element of that. Those witnesses can be pressurized, can be threatened, or can be motivated, or can be win over. So these persons who are committing rape, they may be scot free. But if the trial is very fast in such type of cases, then definitely the people will have a fear of law. Only fear of law can be proved deterrent, because people must have in their mind, if they are found guilty of committing rape, they will not be spared at all. They will not scot free. So unless and until they will think about it, then the staff, then other people also. In this case, if in this case, particularly take this example of this case, if this case is sent to trial, and day-to-day basis a trial is completed, and the person is punished as per law, then definitely people will think that is being done. In so many states I have seen, in Rajasthan I have seen, the person was convicted within 2 months, and he was hanged in a rape with murder case.
So,
So these
speedy
type of
justice, you're saying
in
deterrence will be created with speedy
yes,
justice, and
this
that
is,
continues to elude us.
but
Even in Nirbhaya case, it took 7 years to hang the rapists. Look at the
yes,
systemic
7 years, more
delays
than
that
7 years,
we have.
yes. And
That is the sort of
nowadays,
systemic
now,
delays which
Afrida,
is robbing
one
us
more
of the
point, one more
deterrence
point.
that we need. So, Radhika ji, now an
Yes.
anti-rape bill. Is this? Do you think that this is optics? This is just wanting to be seen, as Dolonji said, that this is not going to make a difference. Death penalty will not change. We already have some of the strongest laws in this country. That has not changed. So, what is your view on this new anti-rape bill that Mamata Banerjee has brought in?
Well, I agree with Dolanji. I completely agree with her that the bills are not going to be deterrent. Now, who implements the law? Who helps to implement the law? It is the police force. In Bengal, because of the state of affairs of governance, when a common person goes to the police to seek help, FIRs are not lodged. Please understand, it is run as a family business. And I'm not saying this because I'm from the BJP and represent it. I'm saying this as a woman from Bengal, and this is known to one and all. Everything that happened with this case, why was it so botched up? Because of the way the police behaved. You tell me, a juvenile delinquent would know that if there has been a death, you behave with the site in a particular manner. Have you seen the videos where people are walking up and down, in and around the body? Does the police not know how to deal with a murder, which is an obvious murder because of all the bruises on the person's body, the way the body is lying, the way the body has been discovered? I'm so sorry. I wish Raviji had stayed because he tried to rebut me by saying that I didn't answer the question.
Yes,
The first
what he
question
was saying is
why
BJP is trying to
this
fish in troubled waters, aggravating the law and order situation in order to
The
have Mamata in the dock, deliberately aggravating
law
the
and
situation,
order
not
is
letting
Mamata Banerjee.
normalcy to return as a deliberate move. That is what he's saying the BJP is doing right now,
I'll
deliberately
tell you
fomenting
something.
trouble. Hmm.
Yes, I would like to elaborate on this, please, if I can.
Yeah.
Every political party comes into power using politics. That's how Mamata got rid of the CPI regime. People turn to political parties because they want help. In this particular case, you cannot separate politics from this heinous crime because this happened in a government hospital. And this government hospital is under the Ministry of Health of the state of West Bengal. And Mamata Banerjee is the health minister. How can you separate politics from here? You tell me 4,000 plus people come and attack a hospital. They desecrate it. They attack the emergency room. Did they come by parachutes? Were they paratrooped? For how long were they walking on the streets? The same police that we are discussing, did they not know that a procession of people are coming towards a highly volatile building where this terrible murder, a well-publicized murder, has taken place? Couldn't
So
they
let me
stop
then
them?
point out.
You can bring
Let
out the tear gas
let
and
me
water jet.
summarize the questions you are raising for Mamata Banerjee. You are raising a question number one on her being the health minister, and it happens in a government hospital, and Sandeep Ghosh was literally rewarded after this by a reappointment in record time. In with an undue haste. That is number one. Number two, the vandals who entered the hospital tampered the scene where it should have been preserved for CBI then to take the case from there. And of course, the fact that now law and order is not being handled. This is what I want to add. The fact that now you have to have normalcy return. You cannot have the common citizen suffer day in and day out because of all these trouble. Like I said, today there was a molestation in the protest. So clearly things are going out of hand, and for that, Mamata Banerjee will have to take responsibility. Dolan Ganguly, your thoughts?
Afrida, can I just add something because I really broke my
Yeah.
chain of thought. This is a
Yeah, please
people's
go ahead.
movement now.
Hmm.
It's a people's movement. It's beyond anyone. To say that it's politicized, is not correct. Of course, people are turning to politicians. People are turning to the BJP. BJP is protesting. BJP is coming out with what they believe is the state of affairs in the state, and they believe that if we come into power, we might be able to do a far better job than the people of Bengal have ever imagined. But I'll put that aside. The question here is, when people are out on the streets, and Afrida ji, I'm not ashamed to say this on national television, that when we walk on the street, we have to sort of save ourselves from that odd elbow that comes towards our chest. So in a crowded area, all these things will be expected to take place. I don't subscribe to it. I believe that the courtesy levels of our gentry, male gentry in this country has gone for a toss. These things should not happen. But my point of contention is that nobody should say, now the case is being handed over to CBI. What is CBI doing? And Mr. Rao, who's a senior cop, will perhaps agree with what I'm about to say. It takes 6 to 8 weeks for any DNA test to come out, because you not just have biological, you have forensic, you know, you have all sorts of tests which then have to be checked and rechecked. You won't just take, if I'm the perpetrator, you will have to match my DNA with that of my
Okay.
parents,
I
perhaps,
want
my
to broaden the
siblings,
scope.
perhaps,
Yes,
to make
I
sure
want to
that
just,
this is
I
the
got
match.
your point.
When this place has
I
been
got
so
your point
badly
about
tampered
why
with,
immediately we cannot hold the CBI accountable. CBI is doing its job and due process must follow. I understand, but I want to ask Dolon Ganguly, just widen the scope of this debate a little bit, because you brought up the patriarchy issue, and that is where somehow I feel that we are not talking enough about the fact that you have, even your uh, the victim could be higher up in a social hierarchy. Even then, somebody who is working under you, or still crosses the line because of the sort of patriarchy that they have been brought up with. What gives them this sort of power? Why do they feel empowered, emboldened to cross the line in this manner? Now, two things here. One, of course, is that here is a civic volunteer who had access to this hospital. There are certain discrepancies that have come out now about how can a person like that with dubious credentials have that sort of access to the entire hospital. But second, the fact that he thought he could enter the room and commit this crime on a young doctor without any fear of consequence. Do you think it has got to do more with lack of deterrence, lack of the fear of the law, or it is more to do with the fact that, and by the way, he had just consumed porn, all of that was shared by the police? It's more to do with the mindset of a rapist, which this society is not doing enough to discourage.
Um, yes, I'm coming to your point, but before that, I mean, humbly, I would say to Radhika ji, the first you establish the law and order in UP, and then you plan to take power of West Bengal. I mean, whoever is doing good is welcome, but we, as I said in the initially, so so I think that now coming to, as I said in initially, it's unfortunately, it's not only West Bengal feature, it's across
True.
India and maybe across globe. However, I mean, the rape and molestations is in rise, and it's a national uh, concern at this point of time. However, having said that, I'm just saying that this that what the question you said that about the social hierarchy and all, I would put it in a different way. I
Mhm.
first we don't know yet that who has committed what. It's not yet clear because CBI hasn't arrested not the principal yet. I mean, in one way, the principal has been rewarded by state government, and the CBI, who is supposed to be the central government law and order force, I know that independent but linked with central government, that's also hasn't arrested the principal yet. And so, and we don't know what is being done by CBI. I understand it takes 6 to 8 weeks, but other processes are also going on, and we don't have any information. Being a civil society, where the civil society movement is demanding for information. Number two, I think this social hierarchy thing is depends. So where, I mean, I don't know, we are not sure yet the in the power relation where this woman was. I mean, I understand that she was a doctor, but even being doctor is not always gives that power to a woman. I mean, we know that professionally high rank women are also get sexually
Yes.
assaulted in the workspaces. If you remember that Gill
Mhm.
case in the years back. So we really don't know, but of course there is a misogyny, which unfortunately generally this men being socially they are brought up with certain kind of toxic masculinity, which is being indulged by our families, society and state. Because when the state comes, the ministers say that I am the masculine power. Our state power is highly masculine, whoever is in the government, whatever the party's name is. So the state power is masculine, and state shows that masculinity that is reflected everywhere. So men, being any strata, can get that impression that we can do anything and
Anything and get away with it.
get away with it. And secondly, your point, of course there has been the I would not say that law and order, I would say that there should be an atmosphere which we can call the gender just or gender inclusive atmosphere, which promotes the prevention rather than after we, I mean, one need to die before we
And in
ask
that,
for
the police
anything.
has a role to play,
And
isn't it?
that's the police has
Yeah.
a role. And just for your
Yes.
information, while women were going to one of the protests, the trans women, they got molested by railway police in Metro Rail. So, I mean, and just when this incident happened, just after that, after Arjikar incident, they were going to the protest for the Arjikar victim, where they got
Yes,
molested
that's
by
what I was just
railway
mentioning.
police. So
That it
police
is rampant and there is no
it's
deterrence anywhere,
rampant.
no
It's
fear of the
rampant,
law.
and the
While we
protector is
speak,
being
there must be some
perpetrated.
molestation happening.
Absolutely, protector is being perpetrated. I mean, where people will go, and I mean, police force needs to be totally revamped with right sense of gender sensitization, and it's not that protecting, but rather ensuring safety and freedom to women. I'll
So,
stop here.
Mr. Rao, these questions all come to you in a way because you have led a force in the national capital, which again has a very high crime rate. So, it is not what you said that the courts have to create deterrence, but the other panelists don't seem to agree. They're saying that police has a role to play. You create that ecosystem where women feel safe. Isn't that the role of the police to do so?
Let me clarify what the police role is there in such to preventing these such type of crime. One, I told you about the intelligence about the suspected and prone to this crime. Number two is which was left over by me at that time, the police presence in the area at vulnerable places, at dark spots, at so many places, patrolling of the police, and that presence of police will definitely have a fear in mind of the people. If police is not seen on the roads or in the scene or the places where there are we can categorize as a dark spots, then definitely the people having such type of pervert attitude, they may commit rape in those cases. In that case, the police has a role to play to prevent the such type of criminals, the crimes, mainly with the increasing their intensity of the patrolling in that particular area, because every area is demarcated to the subdivision officers, some beat officers, and SHO is overall supervisory officers, and there is a system of beat patrolling also, and the beat patrolling, they also find out, they also identify the persons who can be possibly committing such type of crime, and they also should take preventive action against those people. These are the only things. Otherwise,
But
more
in
than
this
that, I
case, sir,
don't think that.
the person, the accused, was roaming around under the garb of actually roaming around in a police vehicle, written police over there, which was commissioned apparently by the Kolkata police. So he was actually roaming around as an agent of the Kolkata police. And he used to stay with the
Yes,
local
that
outpost
that
down
is very
there. Yes.
that is state a very serious state of affairs, because one ASI of the Kolkata police was having mixed up with this person, and he was also found in a police barrack. As I have understood, that he was also
Yes.
found sleeping in a police barrack when he was apprehended. This is if such type of policing is there, the police is
You
mixed
are
up with
saying
the
police is
criminals,
supposed to
then only
sniff
those.
out suspicious elements. You are saying police is
Yes,
supposed
what
to
I'm
sniff
saying
out
is that
suspicious
suspicious
elements.
elements should be
Here, somebody is taking
identified.
shelter
But
with the
if
police,
the police
and
is
nothing was being done.
police is giving shelter to these people, that is not part of the police at all. That police should take stern action against that police officer, and that action should be exemplary, so that no other police officer should dare to have think about it, all this type of mentality and helping these criminals. So the police one part is that the preventive part, another part in this case, when the police is mixed up, that the stern action should be taken by the senior officers against him, and that should be an exemplary punishment, and moreover that speedy there should not be any court, there should be any chance that the who has been arrested in such a cases, yeah, he can get scot free from the court. Evidence should be so tightly done, and that is only with the possibility that the persons who is investigating that case is thorough in professional in the investigation. He knows his job very well. That's why this. Otherwise, we have seen so many so many rape cases have been acquitted because of the faulty investigation, and the investigating officers do not take care of in
So
pursuing
you
their
do
case in
accept
their
that instilling the fear of the law, you do accept that when it comes to instilling the fear of the law, police has a role to play, as you rightly explained to us. Yes, Radhika ji, go
very
ahead.
limited. Yes.
Okay, I want to talk about Sanjeev Rai, who's not from the police force. He's a civic volunteer. I'm an army officer's daughter, so I understand the scenario in a regimental line or in the barracks. So I'm trying to draw clarity. Here is a civilian who goes and rests in the barracks, not once, but he used to park himself with the 4th Battalion of Kolkata Police. So he's not a first-time visitor or the first guest who's just gone there to sleep for one night. People, he eats there, he sleeps there, he sits on that scooter which says police. He drives out to the hospital. There are very many questions about the sinister murder, and that is why people are out on the streets. And let me draw the scenario for you, Afrida ji. Does this man work on telepathy? How on earth does he know that when he enters the hospital, he goes up to the seminar room? Who called him there? Who told him that the doctor was there? What was the purposes of him lingering there at that time of the night? Why did he have access into any of the corridors of the hospital after dark? What was his duty roster scheduled for? Why is it that we've never asked who were the 4 other doctors who accompanied Dr. Abhaya to have dinner and rest? I'll ask you some common man questions. We can, of course, look up the roster and see who were the other doctors on duty that night, who were the interns on duty that night, but that's not my job to do.
There were 3 other doctors on duty. They were, in fact, in the same floor in another
room. Let
room.
me finish the speech. Just give me a second.
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I was saying, as per reports that came later from the police investigation and through CCTV footage, there were 3 other PG doctors who were in that same floor, by the way, in another room. And it was one of them who discovered the body of Abhaya when she came to look up and see, when it was duty hours at 9:30, is when she came and discovered Abhaya in that state. Now, here again, initial reports said that police had misled. That turned out to be wrong, by the way. It seems the hospital authorities called up the parents to say that the Abhaya committed suicide. So there again, police was again falsely named, as the ones who gave wrong information. So a lot of misinformation went around at that time. I just wanted to clear the point about who else was there.
I'm not talking about misinformation. I'm just drawing the scenario. A doctor is one of a team. She says, I've worked 36 hours, so I'm really tired. I need to take a kip. I need to take some rest. I'll have something to eat. I'll go and rest. Now, when she is missing for so many hours, why is it that no one came looking for her? All right, she went to rest for her maybe an hour or 2 or 3. When she's missing, wouldn't one of her teammates say, hang on a second, let's go and look for her. Is she all right? Why hasn't she returned, to our treatment room, etc.?
No, these are regular things, Radhika ji. Doctors rest wherever they can manage to get a place to rest, right? So apparently she did mention that I will retire for the day.
Until the next morning.
Yeah.
Isn't that
because
a prolonged
saying that she will retire for the day. She would go saying, I retire for the day. And she went to the seminar room to sleep,
all right,
which was known to the
you
other
are a woman, I'm a woman.
Which is why they went there to check, probably.
Sorry.
No, no, I'm saying all these
All right,
details we
you
do
are
not
a
have.
woman and I'm a woman. We are
Yeah.
alone and a man comes to attack us, sexually or otherwise. Will we not resist it? Don't we have that much strength in us to resist him, to bite him, to scratch him, to hit him in his testicles if need be, to put him down? We know all that.
Okay.
What is
So you're
suspicious is
saying there is
in what
more
shape
to
was
this than
she?
what meets
Was
the
she?
eye. I get your point. You are saying there is more to it than what meets the eye. We don't know the full
Of
picture
course,
yet, and
everything about
therefore we
this
should
case
not
is
come
a
to a
cover up.
conclusion yet. And there is a lot more that will come out. But
And
concluding remarks
today
to you,
we,
yeah. I'll just have Dolon Ganguly wrap this up for us as we explored all the various aspects. Of course, the nitty gritties of the crime we cannot go into and speculate at this point. But what we do want is, like you also said, safe working spaces for women. And it's happening in the Malayalam film industry. It's happening in hospitals. Women at workplaces are not safe, and they are not safe from their superiors who's higher to them in power, because of that power equation women are often silent and don't report them. They are not safe from the ancillary stuff from those institutions as well, it seems, as it now turns out. So how are we going to change this? Anti-rape bill, you said earlier, will not help. What will help?
I just want to add before I come to this that just 1 minute that I mean I think that one thing that women I mean if we want to ensure that women's safety in workplace, we do have a very good law is the Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace 2013, and before that
Yes.
it was a guideline. We know that Vanwari Devi case,
The
and after
Vishaka
that
guidelines. Yeah.
started, so it needs to be constituted and practiced, because in many areas, many workplaces, particularly, and in Arjikar was an organized sector, but even in unorganized sector, where the local committees, which should be under the district magistrates, that's not functioning, that's not constituted. Number one, this. Number two, women need safe and secure space, washroom, room to rest, and all this in their workspaces. Having said that, I just would like to add, when we say women's workspace is just not a structured space. When we see the young kid in Hathras went to field and got raped, and the Asifa, we see that was went to see the horse grazing, that was their job, and they got raped. So I think, and also the latest, the village forgot case, we have seen how Brijbhushan has been the regular perpetrator of the sexual harassment at workplace with the sports women. So I think that the law needs to be executed, which is a preventive law. Number two, regular gender session and campaign with the men, women, both in workplaces. Because we have seen that many places the law is there, committee is there, internal complaints committee is there, but employees don't know about it. So employees need to know that what are the measures do we have. And thirdly and importantly, political parties in the parliamentary democracy across political parties need to be very sensitive on the issue of violence against women, public place violence against women, domestic violence, because it shouldn't be like that when I was just telling the other day, I was writing the other day, that the political parties needs to be in opposition to protest it. Whenever who is in power, they cover up. So now here in West Bengal, it has tried to cover it by government, and as you said, that rewarded to that principle. Same happened to Hatras. Same happened. We saw the Brijbhushan. In the Venus Vogat case, how the perpetrator was being protected by the government. So I or the political parties in power. We really request all political parties across on these issues, don't politicize it, make it is a national issue, national concern. And
Right.
finally the law enforcement agencies needs to first reform themselves, And then,
Very
of
well
course,
said. I think you've covered all the points that we
thank
discussed.
you.
And the last one being very important about how there is a need to make some structural changes within the investigative agencies as well. I thank all of you for joining me, Radhika Bhattacharya, Mr. Ellen Rao, and Dolon Ganguliji. Thanks so much for joining us. It is true that you have someone like Mamata Banerjee at the helm of affairs, and at this point of time, you cannot escape those questions. The Supreme Court has also asked this question, that why was the FIR written after the cremation? Why that delay happened? The parents of the victim is also asking, why were we not given the exact picture immediately? Why was there a need to mislead us in the initial few hours? Those are questions coming from, like I said, the Supreme Court and from the parents of the deceased doctor. So cannot be ignored. Mamata Banerjee will have to answer these questions. And now, of course, the law and order situation in the state, it is her responsibility to bring back normalcy. But having said that, you heard the panelists, it is a global phenomena that you have rape and molestation happening because the society does not create enough deterrence. We have to gear up towards creating more deterrence. Removing Mamata Banerjee instantly is not going to change anything. So, politicizing the matter, trying to capitalize on this and get political dividends out of it is not the solution as well. Thanks very much to all of you for joining me today and for taking part in this conversation and listening into Viewpoint. Thanks very much.